Thank you for listening to our YouTube video on creating a conclusion. If you'd like a copy of these slides, please email me, Professor Scanlon, at scanlon1@kenyon.edu. I want to make first an important point about conclusions. Expectations for conclusions at the collegiate level do vary widely across academic disciplines. What might be acceptable in a paper for a religious studies course is likely not going to have the same response in a chemistry class. You should always check with your professor if you're unsure how to proceed during his, her, or their office hours. American colleges and universities participate in what is described as a writer-responsible culture. This label means that papers in these colleges and universities must make facts explicit for readers. Thus, the burden for making a claim and supporting it is on the writer. In reader-responsible cultures, the burden for interpreting a claim and understanding it is on the reader. Thus, they differ in how directly, for writer-responsibles, or indirectly, for reader-responsibles, the message is provided. The conclusion is the perfect place to recap this message and to take our last opportunity to make certain that our audience has followed along. There are 5 basic components to a good conclusion. First is addressing the so what question. Second is providing summary. Third is referring back to the hypothesis or thesis. Fourth is having style. And fifth is drafting it along with the rest of your paper. Let's break them down. First is addressing the so what question. The so what question is the question that readers or audiences pose when they get to the end of a paper or presentation and cannot understand or don't believe the writer articulated its significance. They go, so what? Why did I read that? So, as you write your conclusion, keep in mind that this part of your essay is your last opportunity to connect with your audience. When they finish reading your paper, listening to your speech, or viewing your presentation, you want your audience to understand the relevance of your message. Instead of having your readers go, so what, when they reach the end of your work, you want them to go, so that's why. A good conclusion also provides summary, the second point. The conclusion is your last chance to make sure your audience grasps your key points. Summarizing these key points, as well as any potential areas for further exploration of the topic, refreshes your readers' or audience's memory of what they just read or viewed or listened to. The third thing a good conclusion does is refer back to your hypothesis or thesis. Many disciplines encourage you to open your conclusion with a restatement of your thesis, answering the question, what did you just prove to your readers? Other disciplines prefer you to refer to it more subtly, going over each point that supported your thesis or hypothesis at the end. However, if you didn't prove your hypothesis, you need to examine why that is and answer and acknowledge that fact. A good conclusion has also style, which is our fourth component. Don't just repeat word for word what your paper proved. Instead, think about using one or more of the following. Tell a story that brings all your points together, or address the topic beyond your paper. In other words, are there broader implications? You can also propose a solution if you were looking at a problem. What can people do that we aren't currently? And lastly, you can look at the significance of your topic. What should readers take away from your essay or presentation? You should also draft several conclusions, which is our fifth point. Don't just write your conclusion as an afterthought as your paper is due. Try to draft it along with the rest of your essay. Ideally, as you write, think about, what am I proving in this paper? What did I argue, analyze, or research? What do I want my readers to take away from my work? Answering these questions will help you draft a good conclusion. There are a couple pro tips to keep in mind as you write your conclusion. You should draft often, not waiting till the last minute. If it reads more like an introduction, make it the introduction. Sometimes this happens with papers where we get to the end and we finally figured out what we proved, and so our conclusion can become our introduction, and vice versa. Look at your thesis for ideas about language to use if you want to mirror and have your paper sort of have a cyclical effect. Reread your draft before writing your conclusion, even that first time, even if you have a really rough draft, still read it before trying to create a conclusion. And go to the writing center and then also visit your professor during office hours. A writing center can help you with drafting and editing your conclusion. You can come see us today, or you can make an appointment by visiting owl.kenyon.edu. We are available for both online and in-person appointments. If you have questions on conclusions, Chalmers Library Floor 2 is where the Writing Center is located. Thank you.